Today is Saturday, October 31st, 2020, and today people celebrate Halloween. And it's kind of a special Halloween in that there's a full moon, and full moons are big for these satanic people. And of course, Halloween is big for these satanic people. And what today's video is about, what I'm thinking about, is how witches and wizards and enchanters and necromancers, that's all real. And not only is it real, it's biblical. The Bible talks about it. And why is this not a known thing that the Bible talks about witches and wizards and enchanters? And I liken it to giants. Why isn't it just like a known thing? Yeah, the Bible talks about giants. There used to be giants all over the place. You don't hear people talk about these really interesting things that are in the Bible, like the witches thing. So I have a few memories just from my childhood of people whose parents were religious and they hated witch stuff. They didn't want their children watching Harry Potter or anything like that. But you just don't very often hear people continue the thought and explain how, well, the Bible, witches are real. Witches and wizards are real. And I think that's just something that nobody ever really pointed it out to me. Like, why? Why would Christian parents be not want their children having anything to do with this stuff? Well, the thing is that it's very real. It's not just fun and games. It's real. Kind of just, it would be nice if people had told me about how, oh yeah, giants are real, and the Bible talks about giants in the book of Deuteronomy. And I just think it's a missed opportunity to wake people up to the truth and to wake people up to the satanic agenda that's everywhere, to put your foot down and say, no, witches and wizards are real, and magic is just access to the spiritual realm, but dark magic. And how we're not supposed to do any of that stuff. The Bible tells us over and over again, don't do divination, don't do magic, don't do black magic. And yet you see it everywhere. I think it's one of those things, you can't see the forest for the trees, and they do this thing where they try to pretend like it's benign or, oh, it's just for fun, but then you realize how seriously people take it. Have you noticed how certain people take the whatever zodiac they're born in, they take it very seriously, and people like checking what the newspaper has to say? That's all divination, and it's very evil, and we're not supposed to do this stuff. And so that's what I'm thinking about today. Let me read just some verses from the Bible. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Deuteronomy chapter 18, starting at verse 9. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God gave thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord, and because of these abominations the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. And just notice how often the media is filled with this stuff. Ghost hunting things are really big on TV. On YouTube, you constantly see people talking about tarot cards, and they take this stuff seriously. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep, and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead? 2 Kings chapter 21, verse 6. And he made his son pass through the fire. There's something about making your children pass through the fire. You know, there's the Johnny Cash song, Ring of Fire. And I think it might have something to do with joining this satanic cult, the Orange 33 cult. Something about that, I think, might be connected. Anyways, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. I think that a lot of people would be brought to the Bible if they knew that the Bible seriously talked about this stuff. No, enchantments, sorcery, this stuff is real. If you read the Old Testament, they were doing a lot of strange things that would pass as magic these days. And I don't think that it's like smoke and mirrors magic, sleight of hand stuff that we have today. I think that these people actually could tap in to the spiritual realm, and they were probably helped by demons. And I don't think that it was just sleight of hand that they were doing. I think that they really did do enchantments and talking with familiar spirits, etc. There's a reason things like Harry Potter become so big. And notice the beginning of Harry Potter was all about alchemy, the Sorcerer's Stone. So all of this stuff, it's all about alchemy. And I mean, Harry Potter is such a joke. You can tell that J.K. Rowling, that horseface, did not write it. They get teams of people that know about all this satanic stuff to write these things. And the Harry Potter series is a good example of getting people young. Think of the very first Harry Potter film. The children, they're so young. And that's because they want to appeal to the very young children and then grow them up. And it just gets darker and darker and more evil. I think of just the same thing that they do with Hannah Montana type people. They started out really innocent, and then it just gets worse and worse from there on out. And I'll just keep this thing short. The Salem witch trials, probably fake history, but I mean, in the Old Testament, they were stoning witches, and they would kill witches in the Old Testament. I'm pretty sure that that type of stuff was punishable by death back then. And Salem is short for Jerusalem, but that's another thing they won't tell you in school. If you want to see that you are surrounded by these people today, and they don't even keep it under wraps anymore. You'll get people talking about how they're pagan. You'll get people talking about how they're Wiccan and all that, just openly. And you can go to Amazon for yourself, look up spell candles on Amazon, and you'll see thousands of reviews for spell candles. Perfect spell candles. Like they put a ring of salt around their candle. Perfect spell candles. Lasted about 2.5 hours. And just one other thing that you'll see in public all the time is mudras. People using their hands. And it's like they're casting a spell with their hands. And I could get so much more into this stuff, but really, you're just supposed to stay away from it and call it out for what it is, satanic and evil. And of course, I don't know, because I'm in an odd position because, well, I have really young children, and I'm not the kind of person that is like, oh, I don't want to see any of that stuff. I try to explain that it's evil, and I don't know, it is really hard because it's so invasive. Every children's program is going to have stuff about casting spells and hexes. It's really strange when you hear a 4-year-old talk about hexing somebody, and you're like, where did you learn that? Oh, from the TV. And this stuff is real. I think that's it. That's all I want to say. I guess about this mudra thing, somebody brought up how having all the, like, where did all the hand sign speakers, all the sign language speakers on the TV, they're everywhere nowadays. And people made the good point that they're probably casting spells. That's probably mostly what they're doing up there, is casting spells on people with their hands. And it's because it's something that these people do. Mudras, they cast spells with their hands. They throw devil horns all the time, the one eye symbol. And yeah, they speak with their hands. Got to watch the hands. And I've seen people do strange thing with their hands just in public, and it looks like they're trying to cast spells with their hands. And of course, more than that, you'll see people when they walk into your house, they put the triad claw on their hip. People love the triad claw. Everyday people love the triad claw. They love the OK sign, the 666. They tell you it's OK sign, but it's 666. It's the same thing with, they'll tell you, oh, I love you in sign language, but I love you in sign language is devil horns. That shows you the people that are in control of this place. And that's it for this video. God bless everyone.